Namaskar students. In this video, we will take up the topic all contracts are agreements, all agreements are not contract. So in order to understand this topic, we will divide it into two statements. The first statement suggests that all contracts are agreements. So we need to understand this particular statement by taking up the difference and the meaning. So we will take up the difference between the agreement and the term contract. So first, the meaning of agreement suggests that there is an offer plus there is an acceptance. So we already have talked in the previous video also, offer plus acceptance makes the agreement. What is a contract? Contract is an agreement plus there is a legality to that agreement. When there is a legality, there is enforceability by the law. You can enforce that agreement. Obviously it will create some kind of legal rights and legal duties, right? So legal rights and duties, when we talk about, the agreement never creates any legal rights and duties. Why it does not create? For example, you make a family agreement or you make an agreement with your friend also. Say your mom asks you to buy something from the market and you say yes to her, and later on if you do not buy, will she go to the court and file a complaint against you? No. Why? Because it was an agreement only. It was a family agreement. It was a social agreement. So therefore the agreement does not create legal rights and duties. But if we talk about the contract, it does create legal rights and duties. Why does it create legal rights and duties? We have already seen, because there is enforceability attached to that. What is enforceability? Enforceability means when you can enforce that agreement, when you can get the legal rights and legal duties attached to that. We call that enforceable by law. Next one is necessity. You are making an agreement. We are talking about agreement here. So when you are making an agreement, do you need a contract before that? No. We always need, when we make a contract, we always need an agreement before that, because you cannot form a contract without agreement. So therefore, agreement is required to create a contract, but contract is not required to make a agreement. Next one is concept. Agreement is a wider concept. Why agreement is a wider concept? Because every type of agreement, maybe it's a social agreement, maybe it's a family agreement. Family agreement means agreement made between family members, maybe between friendly agreements, right? Any kind of agreement, it comes under the category of agreement only, right? So therefore we can say agreement is a wider concept. Why contract is not that much wider concept? Because those agreements which are enforceable can only fall into the category of contract. So therefore we can say that contract is a narrower concept. So this is the first part of this particular topic, wherein we have seen all contracts are agreement. In the second part of this topic, we will try to understand that how all agreements are not contract. How all agreements are not contract, right? So here we are saying that every agreement is not contract. So what are those agreements we are going to study under this? All these agreements which are not domestic and family agreements are those agreements which are made between or among the family members. Obviously, when you make an agreement with your family members, we do not attach any legality to that, right? So it's just an agreement. It's just a normal family agreement. We do not want any legal rights and duties to be included in that, right? So that is why those agreements are not contract, and we are discussing all these things, all these agreements which are not contract. Next one is friendly or social agreement. What is friendly or social agreement? Which is made between the friends in the society. When you know somebody and you make an agreement with that particular person, it's a general agreement. It's a very casual agreement. We do not want to include any kind of legality to that, right? So therefore, these kind of agreements are not contract. So we can say that it is not contract. Again, it is not contract, right? Next is political agreement. For example, any political leader makes an offer to you, and you accept that and you give vote to him, right? So it is not a contract. It is just an agreement. It is not a contract. It is not a contract, right? So you cannot enforce that, right? Next is commercial transaction without legal binding. It does not happen generally, because when we talk about the term commercial transactions are business transactions, and generally in most of the time, 99% cases, commercial transaction does have legal binding. But somewhere exceptionally it may happen when it may be based on some kind of faith or trust with the other party, and you do not attach any legality. Although in practice it never happens, but it might be some of the exceptional case which is given under this particular case, Doe's and Frank Company versus Crompton Brothers, right? So here in commercial transaction, you are making a business transaction, but you are not attaching intentionally, or not attaching any kind of legality to that. We call that it's a normal agreement only. It is not a contract. Next one is agreement not possessing all features of contract. It is very obvious that if you want to make a contract, we have talked about in the previous video all the 12 features of contract. So if you are making an agreement and it does not contain any of the given feature into that, your agreement will remain as an agreement only. It will not be considered as contract. Next is void agreements. This is also we have talked about in the essentials of contract, that void agreements are those agreements which are not valid, which are not having any kind of lawfulness. There is no legality attached to that. So void agreements are not enforceable, right? So void agreements which are not enforceable, obviously it will not be a contract. Next one is agreement to make a contract. You are making an agreement and you are seeking some kind of authority from some other person. For example, there is A and B, and A makes an offer to B and B says yes to that, but at the same time he says that I want some kind of permission for this. So I cannot right away give 100% of my assurance to you. I also need to ask to C. From C I need to take permission, right? So what he is saying that we will make this agreement, but in order to convert it into a contract, I need the authority of somebody, right? I need the permission from someone. So therefore such agreement, when they are making such kind of agreement without seeking the approval, or if such agreement are based on that, it will not be considered as contract. So these are some of the features of the term all agreements are not contract. Thank you.